To Manira Ali, her older brother was someone to be admired. He introduced her to reading, took her on 7-Eleven runs, and wasn't annoyed by little sister antics, like the time she shifted his car to neutral at a stoplight. She thought the letters PRNDL next to the gear shift formed the word Prindle.
And I was like, what does that mean? So as he was like at the red light, I took it to N.
Not surprisingly, her brother noticed.
He was just like, what's going on? What's going on? We're freaking out. And I was just like, I moved the Prindle thing. And he just looks at me and he starts laughing.
That brother, that she knew and loved, would later die by suicide in 2009. She and 3 others from the Somali community who lost relatives to suicide share their stories to raise awareness about mental health needs and shed the culture stigma against mental illness. In 2011, Munisa Ali, no relation, lost her husband to suicide. She says her partner of 19 years and father to her 7 kids was in denial about his mental health needs.
When we say this person have mental illness in Somali, we interpret that this person extremely crazy.
In 2016, it was Liban Ali's younger brother. Again, no relation.
Nobody knows that it was coming. I mean, we know that he has some changes before it happened, but nobody knew that it would be suicide.
And last year, it was Abdunur Jama's son. Jama says in Somali that his son was actually on medication, but it wasn't enough.
We have to find the root of the problem. So once we know what the root of the problem is, then we can start discussion and involve wider community to have that discussion.
Word of self-inflicted deaths travels fast through the tight-knit community. The Somali community counts 8 suicides in as many years, plus some attempts, but cite only anecdotal evidence. San Diego's Somali population, one of the nation's largest, is estimated at 20 to 30,000. The suicide rate is statistically smaller compared to the county's annual rate, which is 13 per 100,000. But UC San Diego Global Health Division Chief Wael Al-Dalami says the situation deserves a deeper look, partly because it's an opportunity to investigate suicide prevention.
Whatever we learn from this community could be applied to other communities.
But also,
the suicide is almost the tip of the iceberg. If it's that severe, then there's a lot under that is hidden of mental illnesses.
The epidemiologist is seeking funding to study the underlying problem and identify intervention strategies. His past research found Somali women who had experienced trauma and suffered from mental illness could pass those coping challenges on to their U.S.-born kids. The county's Behavioral Health Services director says he's aware of the mental health needs among the East African community and the wider refugee population, but he says the division lacks the diverse workforce to provide linguistically and culturally competent care. The county is working to better support the East African community by expanding a music therapy program. In the meantime, the 4 Somali community members whose lives were altered by suicide say they want their stories to help start a community-wide discussion about the issue. They hope their loss can help inform others about warning signs.
I feel like if we talk about it more, you would be able to see how that person is feeling. Like, you'd be able to see more signs, and I feel like we can get in front of it.
Some organizations have already been taking the steps to help with workshops and roundtable discussions, but they say more resources are needed. Taryn Mento, KPBS News.